Hey guys, how's it going? It is going to be a interesting day today. I don't like azaleas, and today we were planting an azalea. Brent loves them. My grandmother loves them. A lot of people really love them, and I've seen some people who even do whole gardens just dedicated to azaleas, and that's a little intense for me. So I saw this one, and I thought, well, I like pink, and it's one of my favorite colors to use in the garden. I just thought this one was pretty. I normally don't like them because they just bloom for about a couple weeks, 2 weeks at most. They drop all of their blooms, and then you just have this weird green shrub. And it's not an interesting shrub, and I personally don't like the blooms enough. Reminder, that is not my rooster. I personally don't like the blooms enough to have a whole plant dedicated to taking up multiple feet in the garden just for a couple weeks of interest. I have to really, really like the plant. So this one is a re-blooming azalea. This is the Perfecto Mundo Double Pink. And we'll see how it goes. I'm gonna leave it in the garden whether I like it or not, because Brent really does like them. He really thinks that they're a really interesting plant, a very beautiful flower. A lot of people love them, and I get it. It's just not for me. Where I grew up, these things just used to just line trailer parks, and that's all I think of is a trailer park, which there's nothing wrong with it, but I don't know. It's a plant that I saw growing up, and it just was not something that I ever really loved. And so when I see it, all I think of is trailer parks, and it's not my vibe. It's not what I'm going for here. But because Brent likes it, we're gonna go with it, and it has a whole bunch of new blooms coming. I can see there are buds forming down here, so it's got lots of blooms to come. And I pulled this out of the box. It got shipped to me, and it was covered in these blooms. It had all of these blooms that you're seeing right here, which is crazy. To be able to be shipped and have blooms this late in the season is amazing. Usually they bloom pretty early in the year, and then they're just green, and that's not a problem. I don't love it. So it's growing zones 6 through 9, and it gets about 3 feet tall and wide. And it's a little more resistant to some issues. There is a lace bug that does attack them, and this one is more resistant to that, so that shouldn't be an issue. And like I said, it is a rebloomer, so you're gonna continuously get blooms off of this thing, which for me, that's kind of what I need in an azalea. And then it will handle partial shade. So it is a full sun lover, but it will tolerate some shade. And where I'm gonna be planting it, it's gonna get full sun. So this baby's gonna cook. And I think that might be a lie. No, it's gonna get full sun. I'm gonna plant it in full sun. I'm gonna move a rose that I have. I planted it in an area that I probably should not have planted it in. And I think that this will grow up and it'll fill in a hole that I have in the garden, and it'll be really, really pretty. So I got a black fence, and I think that the blooms on it are just gonna glow against the fence. I think it's gonna be really pretty. So let's go ahead and get this guy planted. Dang it, it leaked on me. Okay. We're doing great. So in this bed right here, I have a flavorette. I think it's like the honey or apricot or something like that rose. And while it does okay there, it's not thriving. It's not doing its best. So I think I'm going to dig it up, pull it out, put it somewhere else, and then plant it in this hole that I'm gonna have, and it'll get full sun, and it'll get some dappled sun. It's gonna get a lot of hot afternoon sun, and I need plants that can just handle that hot afternoon sun, and this should be able to handle it, and it'll fill out this hole right here, which is exactly what is needed for this area. And the rose will do a lot better somewhere else. So we gotta come in here, do this, and then I have a whole mess back here. This section has been just neglected. So we'll come in and clean all of this out too. This is a verbena. I think this is the whiteout, and it's about 2 years old, and it does not get enough sun because it gets blocked. that's gonna be pretty cool right there, especially if we get continuous blooms and it fills this area out. I have the umbrella up so you can see like the shadow because this is in full sun right here. So I'm hoping by next spring that this fills this out a little bit. I mean, maybe it'll come up to about here, and it's gonna be really, really cool. Like I said, I don't normally like azaleas, but this one, because it blooms so much, I think is going to be perfect. I did go ahead and add a bit of extra irrigation into this area just because we have this alder tree, and alder trees are pretty thirsty trees. And so the soil was kind of dry, even though I do have a ton of irrigation. So I just gave it a little extra. And then I noticed, so I have this proudberry coralberry right here, and this was a dream plant of mine, and I didn't think I was going to get to grow it because it's not rated for my zone. At least I'm pretty sure it's not. And I didn't think I was gonna get any berries. I got pink berries, and like not just like one or two, like I got like 15 of them. I'm so excited. And there's another one coming there and a couple coming back there, and this thing has spider mites, so I really didn't think that it was going to perform well. But the fact that I'm getting just a couple berries, I am so excited about it. Next year I expect it to be even better. And I feel like I'm going crazy because it's over 100 degrees out and this thing was stabbing me like crazy. This thing has some thorns on it. It's got a lot of thorns, and there are a lot of little thorns. This is the Flavorette Honey Apricot Rose, and it's an edible rose, and I'm really excited to have this one because I want to use it to like top off on like cakes or cupcakes or things like that when I host all my very lavish dinner parties that I've never once hosted that I would like to host. So we're gonna replant this. And I think somebody might have been attacking a little bit of the roots on this thing, but it does have live roots. That's what that white section is right there. And I am going to plant it over by the cut flower garden because this is going to be used more for like cutting on to use in flower arrangements and to use as an edible. And it is a pretty landscape rose. It gets, I think, like 7 feet tall or something like that. It's a big rose. So it needs more sun and it'll do a lot better back in that new garden bed that I just made. So let's go get that planted. I think that's going to be pretty cool right there. It'll be really nice when it gets big, lend some interest into this bed back here. I think it's going to be really interesting. Did you guys see me fighting with this? It's a grapefruit, and it was pushing out some new growth. I sawed it off, and I thought that it was going to like just die. Nope, pushed out a ton of new growth, and it started to come up. And I don't know how we didn't notice that when we were cleaning this bed out. But whatever. Either way, the rose is going to look really good there. And I did put the little tag that they had sent me with that one right there. So that's going to be very, very happy because this is a full sun area. And now I have one more thing that I would like to do today. So the last thing that I would like to do today is wind up this clematis that we have. So this is our trellis with a clematis called Armandii. And it's gorgeous. This wasn't the initial plan to train it over like this. My initial plan was to train it up and have it go like across the house, and it just started growing this way, and I was like, wait, this is perfect. So I have these wires that have lights on them, and the lights are on at night, and so I need to come through, and like these ones that are hanging down, you guys are eye level right now with me, so you just kind of like walk straight into everything, and that's just not the vibe. So I need to come in, and I'm going to wind them so they go up the wire across, and then I need to take this one and wind it also, continuing down the wire because it's starting to grab onto the tree. And I have this section here that it's come across and it's latched onto the tree. So I need to untangle that and reattach it to the wire right there. This one is just going to be a short piece. It's just going to go there and stop. So I'll end up having to like cap it at the end. So I'll do a little bit of maintenance, but I do need to just come through and pull it. And this is the most gorgeous clematis. It's the best look I've ever had with any of them. It's an evergreen clematis, so it stays green year round. I think it's higher zones only though. It gets the most fragrant white blooms. It only blooms on old growth, so we want to make sure that we don't cut any of that off as it's growing along. So I really want to make sure that I get all of this on here because it's just going to grow and it's going to bloom on the very tops. This last year it bloomed along here and along right here. And so next year I'm going to get blooms all the way across and I'm really excited about it. So I got to wind these up so that way I can tidy this area up and walk through without smacking my face on a branch. Now that is a lot better. It only took a few seconds. It's just having to get the ladder out and having to come and do all of the winding and unwinding because it just twists on itself like crazy. These things have some gnarly like grabbers. It's a really good climber. So if you are in a warmer zone and you need something that needs to fill up a big wall and you've got space for it to climb, highly recommend it. The scent is just magical on this plant. So now we can actually walk under here, and the goal is to continue to train this one right here, and it'll zigzag back down here, come down this wire, and then across that wire. That's the goal. And then you walk under here and it's lit up and you have these like overhanging of a plant, and it's just gonna, I don't know, feel cozy, magical. That's kind of the goal. I'm thinking by next year I'll have at least that one and maybe part of that one done. So it would be really cool to stand here and just have like a sea of green overhead. It would just, I don't know, I think it would feel really magical. And I think that is going to be it for this video, you guys. That was a lot accomplished in 100-degree weather. Not something I was planning on doing. And there was a few things that took a little more work than I thought they were going to be. And I got my hand tore up from those roses. I probably should have wore some rose gloves or any type of leather glove or something like that just to kind of protect myself from all of that. But regardless, it was actually relatively easy. And I cannot wait to see the rose grow up, and shockingly, I cannot wait to see that azalea grow up. I think it will be really pretty, especially having it rebloom continuously throughout the growing season. I think it's going to be gorgeous. And the clematis, we are getting there. So I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for visiting our garden, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye, guys.